Welcome to the episode of the Award Central Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to share our thoughts on the Critics' Choice Awards. Who will win? Who will lose? We're going to share our thoughts on that. The 30th Critics' Choice Awards are scheduled to be announced on February 5th. February, is that right? Is it February 5th? February 7th. There we go. It's close. February 7th, which is this coming up Friday. Obviously, the award show has been pushed not once, but twice now. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting night of award winning. As I mentioned before we got on the air, with Critics' Choice and SAG, all of those, voting periods kind of have, expired before the recent controversy, and we'll dive into that in a minute. But I'm joined by my podcast partner here, Mr. Benji. How are you, man?
Very, very good. Thank you, Ricky. It's definitely safe to say that awards season has changed quite a lot in these past couple of weeks, and I'm very kind of curious to see where both of our stances are now with kind of all of the news and controversy that's kind of followed suit since. But yeah, I'm excited to see what we both have to say about this.
I agree as well, and I am looking right now. Okay, so SAG's still open. So SAG's still open until February 21st. Final votes. Yeah. Final votes are doing for SAG. So obviously, if you don't know the recent controversy, we're not going to dive too deep into it. There's been a lot of resurfaced old tweets, some old resurfaced things happening. And first things first, I want to say, somebody that, as a lover, both of us, as a lover of Amelia Perez, it doesn't change how I feel about the film, but I will say I do not condone Carlos Sofia Gascon's tweets. They were irrehensible. They were sad, obviously, because it overshadows a film. The performances, the 13 nominations, it overshadows history, which is something I think a lot of people are already trying to do, but it didn't matter. But at the end of the day, period, her tweets were not okay. Her words were not okay. Nothing she said was okay. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. I know there's been a lot of people out there. What are the Amelia Perez people going to say about it? Well, we're going to say what everybody else has. The tweets are awful.
Yeah, and I guess we didn't want our silence to kind of come across as condoning that behavior, but again, I don't really want to. Ricky said everything that had to be said, but just to kind of double down on kind of how he feels, how I feel, I'm still a fan of the movie. I don't think it deserves hate that it's got in general, but I don't really support it. Again, more than anything else, it's just sad for one that somebody can have that much anger and maybe even hatred within them, but also the fact that what should be an amazing nomination for the first openly transgender person to ever get an Oscar nomination is being so watered down by this, and may even make it harder in the future, and may even put some people with similar prospects as the Carlos Sofia Gascon did back. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about it. I don't neither of us condone the behavior at all.
Exactly. And let's jump into the nominees for the 30th Critics' Choice. Like I said, that's what we're going to predict on who we think is going to win each category. And we will kick it off with, can we get a better view of this? Let me find, that just kicked Benji completely out. Hang on here.
Rude.
Can I move us over? I don't think so. Does this look? I think this might look a little bit better for everybody.
That does look, from my point of view, it does. We'll go with this.
All right, perfect. All right, so nominated for Best Score. I'm not even going to try to say some of these people's names, so I'm just going to say the movie because that's what I like to do. For Best Score, we have Dune Part 2, Challengers, Amelia Perez, The Wild Robot, The Brutalist, and Conclave. Obviously, noticeably here is Hans Zimmer and Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for Challengers. Neither of them nominated for Academy Awards. All right, so actually, before we jump in, basically what we're going to say is who we think is going to win, maybe a second person that's going to win. We're not going to go too much into detail. Obviously, we have a lot of awards to get into here. So, but yeah, Benji, kick it off. Who do you think is going to win, and who do you think could potentially win?
So you know what? This is one of the few categories why I'm going to go kind of risky and go against kind of the betting odds. And the reasoning for that is because the Critics' Choice, more than any awards body in the whole of film awards season, are one of the ones who are least shy about kind of going with outside the box picks in tech categories. So for that reason, with the love for challenges and that Golden Globes win and the kind of cultural hit that score had, I'm actually going to predict Challengers wins here for best score. But the easy runner-up for sure that I also wouldn't be surprised if it won would be The Brutalist, purely because I feel like if it does win Critics' Choice, it's going to win everywhere else. If it doesn't win Critics' Choice, it's still going to win everywhere else.
So for me, I'm going to predict Challengers to win as well. My runner-up is actually going to be Hans Zimmer for Dune Part 2. That film has a lot of love. It wouldn't shock me for it to win here and for it still not to be nominated. Obviously at the Academy for whatever reason, but yeah, but somehow Wicked could be nominated. But nonetheless, all right, not here obviously, but at the Academy is what I meant to say. Everybody at home.
So funny.
For best score or best song, we have the song from Last Showgirl, Challengers, Amelia Perez, Will and Harper, The Wild Robot, Amelia Perez. I'll kick us off here. I still think El Mel wins for Amelia Perez.
Yep, completely with you on that one. Almal from Amelia Perez. Runner up, probably Mi Camino from Amelia Perez. And I think those, I say that Almal does feature a bit of Carla Sofia Gascon, but actually, you know what? It doesn't even matter. What am I talking about? Because voting for this ended ages ago. So you know what? Yeah, my opinion hasn't changed at all. Almal, runner up, Mi Camino.
Best foreign language film, All We Imagine Is Light, Amelia Perez, Flow, I'm Still Here, Kneecap, and The Seed of the Sacred Fig. I think this is another movie or another category again. Man, this one's a little bit harder for me. I think I still think it's Amelia Perez. I just don't know what's runner up. I don't.
I can give you a pretty good idea.
I don't think it's I'm Still Here though. I don't think it is.
So
She didn't get an actress, you know what I mean? So it's like the film wasn't as strong with the again, and voting was done over a month ago, you know what I mean? So
this is an interesting category for that reason, because if the voting was pushed forward some more, and especially if it was kind of in when it was having that massive craze right before the Oscar nomination voting closed, I would seriously be thinking about I'm Still Here winning this category potentially, especially with the controversy that's been going on. However, the voting for this happened way before any of this. So for that reason, I am going to stick with Amelia Perez. But you know what? I'm Still Here does have a big fan base behind it, and it's quite hard to say because that whole movie had such a unique circumstance that we may not ever see again for a long time in terms of getting into Best Picture at the Oscars. But out of all these movies, if I had to choose a number, like the second most likely to get into Best Picture, it'd probably be that. So yeah, I'm still going for Amelia Perez, but I'm Still Here wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world if it did happen.
best comedy, A Real Pain, Deadpool and Wolverine, Hitman, My Old Ass, Saturday Night and Thelma. I think there's a toss up here, and I might be a toss up surprise to people. I think it's a toss up between Deadpool and Wolverine and Hitman. I don't know if so. When I look at things and when I'm voting, because obviously a voting member of Critics' Choice, I look at a comedy as if did I laugh? Did I laugh a lot? Is it the soul of like a comedy, a true comedy, right? I love A Real Pain more than anybody. You know what I mean? I watched it at Sundance last year. I was gun ho about it. However, I don't think that it fits in the bubble of a true comedy and should win quote unquote best comedy. So for me, when I'm looking at this, I think I'm pretty positive if I remember correctly. Again, this was over a month ago. I think I voted for My Old Ass, which I think is a fantastic film. But for me, I think this comes down to two films, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Hitman. And I think either one of those will win, and I think either one of those could be the other winner. Benji?
I completely agree with you on that one. I'm glad we have to both have the same stance in it. If I had to choose like pure and through comedy, I'd probably say Hitman is the most likely to win here. Runner up, I wouldn't be so shocked if A Real Pain still won this, purely because even though it's not like a through and through comedy, it is still a pretty funny movie. I'd say it's more, you know what, I know some people disagree with me on this, but I'd probably say it's more of a comedy than Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine is more of a funny kind of adult superhero movie to me, whilst I'd say A Real Pain more leans more towards comedy in general, as we kind of come at just to know it. So I'll go with Hitman, runner-up, A Real Pain.
Yeah, I mean, I got my own thoughts about Deadpool and Wolverine, and none of them are saying it's a good movie either. So Best animated feature. We have Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. I lean. Oh, let me put it back up here so people can see it. I lean Wild Robot with Flow seeking a close second.
Yeah, I completely agree. Wild Robot with Flow number two.
All right. Moving right along to best visual effects, we have Gladiator 2, Wicked, Dune Part 2, Better Man, The Substance, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'll let you kick this one off, Benji.
It's an interesting category, and like I've
Very.
said before, they do not mind kind of going a little bit different in these techie categories. And with editing and visual effects and costume designs, they're the three where they've really shown to go for outside the box picks. But I'm kind of looking at all these nominees, and whilst there are, you know, they're all pretty good to be fair. If they didn't go for Doom Part Two, that would just be downright offensive. So I'm predicting Doom Part Two for the win. And then runner up is actually very tricky. I'm going to go a little bit risky here and say The Substance.
I think winner Doom Part 2. I balance between Substance and Wicked, so you went Substance, I'll go Wicked. So I should have
Fair.
had we should have just wrote these down as we went through. I know we can put them on a website or whatever, but I think it would have been still fun. All right, best hair and makeup: Beetlejuice, Dune Part 2, The Substance, Wicked, Nosferatu, and A Different Man. Another very intriguing category because I feel like there is some really incredible work done here in this category, right from top to bottom. I don't think there's a bad nomination amongst the six of these. Um, for me, I think I'm going to go. Ooh, shit. I don't know. I was going to go one way. I think Nosferatu should win this, or A Different Man. But I think what's going to win is probably The Substance, and I'll take Wicked as number two.
I hate to copycat, but I completely agree. I think even before The Substance gained this massive Oscar buzz, although everyone was saying it will still probably get to makeup and hairstyling and probably win. So with that and the awards run that The Substance has had, I'd be shocked if anything else happened anywhere. So definitely The Substance for number one. Then yeah, but number two, probably Wicked.
All right, best costume design. We have Conclave, Nosferatu, Maria, Wicked, Dune Part 2, and Gladiator 2. Um, Wicked. I think Wicked's going to win this category.
It's tricky. I don't think it's as black and white and locked up as it is. Like I'm looking at Maria, Nosferatu, Doom Part 2, Gladiator 2. Honestly, if any of these were ended up becoming winners, I wouldn't be so surprised. I'm gonna lean towards Wicked because it's fantasy. It's very kind of Tadar and it's costumey type of vibes. So I feel like Wicked has the best shot. But I also look at something like Wicked as maybe being very Barbie-esque, and we could see something like Nosferatu or Doom Part 2 take this category. Because the first Doom did win previously, which doesn't necessarily make its chances better, but it equally shows that they're not neglectful to giving costume to those type of movies.
Best editing: Anora, Challengers, Conclave, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, and September 5. What you got, Benji?
It's tricky. It's a very tricky category. I'm between two movies, but as much as it pains me to say it, because I've made my point very clear that I think this is an overrated AF movie that I'd really rather not see Best Picture at the end of the day, but I'm kind of toying with every day due to its pure kind of the energy of it, how kind of boom, boom, boom it is, how very uncut gemsies it is. I'd probably go with Nora from a number one. I feel like that's the most obvious movie to give editing. And with Critics' Choice, I think they are going to love Nora. Bit of a spoiler alert for when we go into these other categories. I'm leaning towards Nora, but the editing for Conclave was also very, very good. And I wouldn't be surprised nor I'd be disappointed if that comes along for the win. So Nora, but look out for Conclave. It would be my advice.
I'm in that same boat there. I think I'm going to flip flop. I think I'm going to go Conclave. And I agree with you that Honor is going to have a strong night. So I'm going to go Conclave here, just be just a little bit different. But my flip flop is going to be your flip flop. So Honor is number two here. Best production design: The Brutalist, Wicked, Conclave, Nosferatu, Gladiator 2, Dune Part 2. Simple and easy for me. I think you go Dune Part Two with Wicked, obviously. Well, ooh,
I was
give
going
me
to
the
say,
Brutalist. Give me the Brutalist as the runner-up, but probably Brutalist might win this, even though it is what it is.
you know what? Me and you are actually on a completely different page because I've got Wicked taking production design for this because I look at, I mean, God, I mean, even Alice in Wonderland took this win all the way back in 2010. They loved their family fantasy movies where it's very bright and colorful. And that is just what Wicked is to a T. And that's kind of the whole charm of Wicked and why a lot of people love it so much. So I'm definitely going to go with Wicked as my number one. And then I've got Dune Part 2 as my number two.
Yeah, and I thought about it off the top of my head, and I'm like, it definitely, it's probably going to be Wicked. If I say anything, watching some of the videos about the making of the film, it is quite impressive what they built with Wicked. Best cinematography, um, Nosferatu, Wicked, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part Two, and Nickel Boys. Um, I really feel like The Brutalist might win this. I don't know if I love that idea, but looking at the other nominees, looking at The Brutalist, we haven't said the film quite a bit, yet for winning. But as we start getting the above the line stuff, you have to start to wonder if this is where it appears. Anora's obviously not in this category, so it's not something it's fighting with. But give me The Brutalist here, and give me Nickel Boys for an upset.
I don't want to say definitely about anything, but with the Brutalist, it kind of brought back the charm of going to go and see a movie in its actual film form. So, for example, I traveled all the way to London to go see it in 70 millimeter. That's kind of how much energy it's kind of put into not just myself, but just kind of the rest of film fans to really go treat themselves like a movie spectacle. And with that, and I know it doesn't really have anything to do with the cinematography, but it kind of leans to like the kind of tone and the attitude of the film, the whole kind of the fact that it brought back in an intermission, the heavy style that it kind of carries with its cinematography. I'd probably go with The Brutalist as my number one here. Then number two, which I'm actually quite surprised that you didn't include, would probably be Doom Part 2 for me.
Yeah, I just kind of went just an upset there. Best adapted screenplay: Amelia Perez, Wicket, Sing Sing, Nickel Boys, Conclave, Dune Part Two. What do you got, Benji?
Ah, I must apologize. I wasn't paying. Okay, right. I'm back. So this one's very easy for me. This might be. Oh, do I want to say that? No, I don't want to say that. I'm not going to say it's one of the most locked categories of the night, but I'm 80% sure I'm right here. Conclave is most likely going to be winning this, and then my number two upset would be Amelia Perez.
For me, well, first off, Conclave's winning the Oscar. Go ahead and throw away
It
the key
better.
here. Throw away the key here. I'm going to go Conclave here, and my runner-up's actually going to be Dune Part Two. I wouldn't be surprised with a Dune upset here, honestly, but I firmly believe Conclave's winning, and they should too. And some, well, I would prefer Dune Part Two. I think it's crazy material to adapt, but all right. For best original screenplay, we have Nora, September 5, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Challengers. To me, this is where we see Sean Baker take the Oscar or the Critics' Choice Award. Um, I think if we're gonna have a second, um, obviously I'm gonna go Farget for The Substance. So
Yeah, so this is where award season starts to get interesting for me because if on Friday night Sean Baker takes original screenplay, I'll be waiting for it to win Best Picture, and if it wins Best Picture, then we're going to be anxiously awaiting BAFTA, the PGA, DGA to really see where this award season going, and that's kind of where, even though it's not what I want to win Best Picture, that's where I get a little bit excited because it kind of throws things up in the air even more. So yeah, I'm going to be predicting Sean Baker for Norris to take this. Then my number two, I'll probably actually go with The Brutalist.
all right, best director: Amelia Perez, Honora, Conclave, The Brutalist, Wicked, The Substance, Nickel Boys, and Dune Part Two. Obviously, conventionally wise, it's probably Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. Um, but for me, I would not be surprised if Sean Baker wins. Benji?
Ooh. So yeah, I am on the exact same page as you. I think Brady Corbet is the most likely person out of all the above the line categories to sweep the season in his respective category. And like I said in cinematography, with what The Brutalist did, whether you love it or hate it, kind of the impact it had on film culture and the passions that it brought back for things that people had forgotten about or thought would never come back. I just so think he's going to sweep the season. BAFTA, there may be an upset, but I think the Oscar is 90% his. So I'm definitely going with Brady Corbet for director here. If I was forced to choose a runner-up, it pains me to say it, but probably Sean Baker for Honora, because I think they're just going to love that movie.
Oh, and I don't think they love it. I know they love it. Um, remember, I am part of the group, and I do talk to a lot of them. And you know what? Everybody has their opinion about what's good and what's great, and I'm not mad at it.
Oh.
Best acting ensemble: Honora, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Saturday Night, Sing Sing, and Wicked. Um, this is interesting. This is very interesting, right? And for me, I think this goes one of two ways. I think it goes Conclave. I think it goes Amelia Perez. Now, could it go Honora too? Possibly as well. But I'm gonna go Amelia Perez, I think, with Conclave second.
You know what? I'm going to throw this completely up in the air because I'm going to go throw a fourth into the mix. But I actually think is going to win. I think this will be where Wicked kind of gets its kind of what would you call it? It's rejuvenation prize, maybe. It's just kind of it's like here you go, we're going to give you an award, Wicked, because I know that you're a part of the CCA, but I just have a feeling when voters are going through their ballot, they're kind of like going like right. Haven't given Wicked anything yet. It does have a pretty big ensemble in. I did quite like the acting. I thought the musicals are very good. You know, there's two of them nominated here. They're all very charming. Right, tick, Wicked. So I'm going to put the Wicked as my number one here just to be different because I think this category is so up in the air where I think taking a risk isn't as bad an idea as other categories. Then my number two would be Conclave.
I don't mind it at all. All right, best young actor slash actress, Eli, uh, Elila Brown for Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, Elliot Heffernan for Blitz, Maisie Stelly for My Old Ass, Isaac Wong for Dee Dee, Alicia Weir for Abigail, and Zoe Ziegler for Janet Planet. I just want to throw it out here and say that Alicia Weir for Abigail should win this. Period. End of story. But I'm going to predict that Maisie Stelly for My Old Ass wins with Isaac Wang coming in
Ooh.
second.
I've got Isaac Wang as my number one for DD, and I'm here for it. DD, I ended up watching it a couple of weeks ago in the new year, and I was really frustrated at myself. I didn't catch it beforehand, so I could put it on my top 10 in the year because I loved DD, and I thought he was the best part of that movie. So I think he's going to, maybe I'm a bit biased, but I do think he's going to win, and I'm here for it. Then, honestly, my number two can be any of these people, but I'm going to follow you a little bit. I'm going to go with Maisie Stella as my number two for My Old Ass.
All right, let's spice things up. Obviously, now as we enter the the big six, I think you could call them. So for best supporting actress, we have Danielle Deadwaller for The Piano Lesson, Anjanou Ellis Taylor for Nickel Boys, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Margaret Qualley for The Substance, Isabel Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. Five of these should have been the nominees. Shout out to Anjanou Ellis Taylor, who's the absolute backbreaking, heartbreaking heart and soul of Nickel Boys and has such small pivotal moments in that movie that blew me
Who
away.
got completely fucked over during this whole award season.
She did. She did. All right. So this to me, simple. It's the way that everything has gone this entire season. Zoe Saldana is going to win this. And I have Ariana Grande, who could potentially play a massive upset. Would I be shocked if Ariana Grande wins? No, I would not be because there's a lot of people in this group that like Wicked. So I wanted to say Ariana Grande. I really did. And Benji might, but I'm going to go Zoe.
I'm so sorry. I was just desperate just to kind of burst my words out there because I feel so strongly about this category and where I think it's going. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not saying Saldana's out of the picture at all. I'm not saying she can't win this category, but just break it down. Emilia Perez, for as much as we like it, it hasn't been loved by everybody. The Golden Globes has recently massively expanded on its European and international awards body, so it doesn't surprise me if it wins there. At BAFTA, it wouldn't surprise me if Zoe Saldana wins there because, again, it's got a very European voting body. However, the CCAs and the SAGs, especially CCA, is compromised by a lot of very American people. So I can't help but think that we're going to see a bit of a shift in award season when it comes to Critics' Choice and SAG. And therefore, I am going with Ariana Grande for Wicked. And I don't think I'm going to change my mind on that. And then Zoe Saldana will be my number 2. But I am like feeling so strongly that this season is going to change massively, especially with the Emilia Perez controversy that's come out. People who may be flip-flopping, who are still voting for SAG, will go for Ariana Grande. I expect to see a shift here. I would not be surprised if come Oscars night, Emilia Perez just wins song, honestly. I feel like it could have a massive downfall, and I'm not here for it. I want it to win a few categories. I do like the movie a lot, but that's just the world that we're living in right now. So yeah. Anyway, I went off a bit of a tangent, but Ariana Grande for Wicked.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. I don't think. I don't think you're wrong here. You know what I mean? Like, there's a possibility here. I said it, and I that's that. You know what I mean? All right, moving
Fair.
right along to Best Supporting Actor. Yuri Borisov for Nora, Kieran Culkin for Will Payne, Clarence Macklin, Sing Sing, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, Denzel Washington, Gladiator 2. The man that's going to win this is going to be the man that wins the Oscar. I don't care if it didn't get Best Picture. Kieran Culkin for Will Payne.
So, where do I sit with this? I'm pretty sure I agree with 99% of the people who are also voting for this category. I will say Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain as my number 1. Then my number 2, probably Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, but I think Kieran Culkin's so far out front, I think having a number 2 is worthless.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right, moving on to Best Actress. To me, Cynthia Erovia for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Marianne Jean Baptiste for Hard Truths, Angelina Jolie for Maria, Mikey Madsen for Nora, Demi Moore for The Substance. Mikey Madsen's winning. Demi Moore's obviously a wild card here, but Mikey Madsen is winning hands down. Shut the door. If you could bet on this, bet it. Period.
Yeah, if you can bet money on this, if there's still a lot of people voting for Demi Moore, then put money down on this because you'll probably make a profit come the night of the Critics' Choice. So yeah, I still think Demi Moore's definitely still very much in the race to win Best Actress come the end of the day. But for this awards body, I really think it's going to be Mikey Madison. If Demi Moore does win here, holy fuck, the season is done in Best Actress. And at this point, I can't really see any other awards body going any differently. So Mikey Madison, almost certainly. But if Moore does win, then start predicting it for everywhere else would be my advice.
All right, for Best Actor, Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet, Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig for Queer, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Rafe Fiennes for Conclave, and Hugh Grant for Heretic. I really, I don't know. I don't see. It's crazy to me. This is. Let me say this out loud. I don't think Adrian Brody is a contender to win, but I don't know who's number 2 but behind Chalamet. I think it might be Coleman. It might be Rafe. You know what I mean? I don't know. I would be genuinely shocked if Adrian Brody wins Friday. I would be shocked. Like genuinely shocked if he wins. And if he wins, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, he won. I can't believe it. That would be my shock sound. That's my shock sound for you guys. I think Timothy wins. Yeah, Timothy's gonna win. I think. I don't know. I think. Benji?
Yeah. So the critics, if there's one thing that we can say about Complete Unknown, I know that it's been mostly positive with some mixed reviews in here and there, but the one thing everyone agrees on is that Timothy is genuinely outstanding in that movie. And I can almost tell you why somewhere like the Golden Globes or even maybe the BAFTAs will go with somebody like Adrian Brody. But for Critics' Choice, I feel like this is Timothée Chalamet's, and maybe SAG, this is his best shot at winning somewhere before, and if not, the Oscar as well. So I'm going to agree with you there and say Timothée Chalamet. My number 2, I probably would say, is Adrian Brody, though, because if there could be another world where he just sweeps the season, and that isn't that shocking to me either. Even though I love the Brutalist, I don't really want that to be the case, because I think there's enough talent in this category where we could kind of spread the love throughout of all of the ceremonies. So I've got Brody at number 2, but then I think Ray Fiennes is a close number 3, and then I think Coleman Domingo is a close number 4, honestly.
All right, for the final pick, obviously for Best Picture, Complete Unknown, Honora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boy, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicket. Give me Honora to win. I think this is going to be a Honora kind of night. And if I was picked number 2, it would be Conclave.
So my number 1, and as I kind of hinted towards throughout the whole episode, is Honora. I feel like this is definitely where it's going to win, if anywhere, even if it wins nowhere else. But number 2 would probably have to be The Brutalist. I think there's a lot of respect in the industry, whether that's professional or critical, that they have a lot of respect for The Brutalist, what it does. Even if you don't love the movie, there are a lot of people out there who still really respect and admire what it did and how it kind of opened the door for maybe other potential smaller budget movies to be kind of made the same way that The Brutalist was. So Brutalist could definitely win here. I really do think that. And it'll be kind of a shame, if I'm being honest, after us kind of anticipating the whole season to be wild, for then just to see The Brutalist and just go and sweep everything. And I kind of don't think that's going to be the case, which is why I think Honora is winning here. But The Brutalist and even Conclave, I think, are my tied number 2s to win, if not Honora.
Yeah, agree here as well, folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Awards Central podcast. We'll be back next week breaking down our below the line predictions for the upcoming Oscars. We have a fun month of February for you, followed by obviously the SAG predictions will be coming soon. And then, of course, our final picks for who will win. Our time is dwindling down. I cannot wait for this season to come to an end. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Awards Central podcast. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
See you later, folks.